Isn't this just a suggested design though? It's not set in stone, is it?
Well, there are elements of it that will be, but it's an illustrative framework and it sets the starting point. So,
But nobody's tied to this design, are they?
well, they are in the sense of there will be things called parameter plans which will identify where the development parcels are, where the green space is, etc.
So all these boards over here, which suggest what it might look like, that's just an idea what it could look like if they chose that design. So there could be other designs.
With an outline application, there's more. In the old days, you could have just put a red line around it and maybe an arrow saying you're going to come in here and you're going to come in here, and then the principle of development would have been set, and you could have then gone off and designed it.
Because I came here and under the impression, because I'm not actually that au fait with a lot of this, I came under the impression that this is the design. But there's been nowhere anywhere around here that says this is not actually set in stone until I spoke to somebody who actually knows about these things, in which case this is all very vague, isn't it?
Well,
so I've kind
it's an illustrative
but
master plan.
that doesn't actually mean anything to me.
It's not.
It's
That's why we're here to talk
really...
and ask questions, because not everyone's going to answer.
But you've got to know the question to ask, haven't you?
You do, yeah.
And I only knew that because this lady was here. Yeah. Otherwise, I would think this was what was happening, and I'd knock on everyone's door in Bonington Drive and say, "This is what's going to be built. Isn't it great? You know, we're going to Huntington Lane's going to be closed off, and all of that." And then that would shut us up, and we wouldn't protest about it. But I really well now, because I know this is not what's happening. This is a suggestion of what's happening, because that word there didn't come across to me as being a suggestion.
As I said, there's a lot of by doing this. There's a lot of things, for example, where the road will go.
That is set in concrete, is it?
Well, not the exact alignment, but the fact it enters there and it will pass through and come out there. Okay. The fact that Huntington Lane will become pedestrian and cycle only.
But all the little sweeteners that are around here quite possibly not be in the developer's plans at all.
Well, it depends what you mean by sweeteners. There will be things...
Well, this is going to be something that's going to suggest that all the things that we're worried about are things not to worry about, like the habitats and the...
No, that's not true at all. The green spaces will be identified, the built land parcels will be identified. But this is floodplain, there's a conservation area, so there's a lot of things going on in here which will be set through the outline planning application. We've indicated what the street structure could be, but when the developer comes back, when the developer gets involved to actually build it out, they'll have to come back and put in a detailed planning application. And things may change. That there are reasons
like
why.
Like these figures here might change. This could go up to about 40 odd. This bit here. Dwellings per hectare.
There will be, that's the kind of thing that will be set in the outline application. I mean, I wouldn't. We're trying to sort of get across an idea as far without taking it too far, and illustrate what it could be like. There will be things that will be set.
I didn't realise that's what that illustrative word meant.
If we drew, at the moment we don't know exactly what the mix of housing will be, so we can't possibly draw the exact look of it, because depending on the types of housing and where they go, it will change. But what we're saying is that there's that's where the built development would go. There will be areas of open space, there will be areas of play facilities, but within the central area, this is where more of the community facilities would go, which are more accessible to more people. One of the things that came out of the community planning weekend was that people from the surrounding residential areas said that there was a lack of focal point, and that this development could provide it, not just for the new development, but for the surrounding areas. So we're trying to give an impression to help, not to, we're not trying to.
It just doesn't feel very
mislead you,
honest.
obviously. Well,
Because I feel as though, I believed that this is what was happening, because there wasn't anything that said, in my way of interpreting, what that word meant.
Well,
and it could be that there's a lot of us around that didn't realise.
But that's, as I say, that's why we're
I think is that there's a lot of information here that JTP not be able to progress, because the land will be sold on once consent is obtained. Anybody reading that would not unreasonably infer that these are the sort of principles.
Well, it says quite clearly that this is what came out. This is what came out of the community planning, and these are the sort of things people want to talk about. And there will be principles of sustainability. The outline planning application that we're going is about sustainability and how to make this as most sustainable as we can on different levels. There's social sustainability, so people talked about having a focal point, having a neighbourhood centre, what facilities do you need. You don't just build housing. If you just build housing, you want open space, you want play, you want community facilities, you want some retail. We've got allotments, we've got community orchards, etc. These are things that came out. To some extent we have to provide elements of those anyway. Where they go, etc. That's all part of sustainability, the social sustainability, the mix of the housing. People have been talking to me about provision for elderly people, provision for people of all income groups, etc.
I understand the purpose of the exercise. My concern is that the fruits of the consultation exercise could prove to be somewhat irrelevant, in the sense that there is going to be no reason to suppose that the eventual developers will take any notice of it whatever.
Well, as I sort of tried to explain, that an outline application will have elements that are set, which are about where the built development happens, where the green space is.
Yeah.
Well, the devil's also in the generality, because if we can unless you get it right at this stage, you can go into the detail and you get the detail right, but you don't have the overall framework right, which has happened in other places. The movement, how people move around and get into it, where things are, is very, very important in terms of a development, in terms of a master plan. And also community involvement at this stage. You might say there's no guarantee, but there's no guarantee at the local plan stage. The local plan stage sets out that this can be an area for a new sustainable neighbourhood with employment uses, etc., and up to around 1,000 homes or so. And that's at that stage. We're now to the next stage, which is the outline planning application, so we're going into a bit more detail. And there are things from this that you can say will be set. And then once you've got the outline planning application stage behind you, you then go into the detailed design. And that's where, again, you need to be involved to make sure that what comes through is
So who do I contact if I want to say about all of this? If you're just designing it, then if I want to say I'm not happy about certain things, who would I need to get in touch with?
Well, us, and also the local. Once the application goes in, then
Which is
in the autumn, then it becomes part of the statutory consultation process. So that's where the council have
planning
the application.
committee.
Sorry?
Planning committee at the council.
Well, before it gets to planning committee, there is usually a 3-week consultation window.
Are we included in that?
Yeah, that's your time where you can put your comments to the council.
Okay.
So at this stage, we are the architects for the landowners.
So if we go on your website, it would tell us when the application's gone in.
Yeah, but we'll come back to you before it goes in as well.
Okay.
So we'll before we put the application in, we'll come back here, presumably, and you can come and see what will actually go in. But it'll be
Okay.
not very dissimilar probably to that, but it'll have more information involved. There'll be information about the movement, the traffic, environmental issues, and other technical
Because also
issues.
by then the bus services will stop by 1st. They stop on the 5th of September. So you'll have your future bus services mapped out where they're going to be going.
We'll be able to talk to you about all of that. That's again why at this stage you're involved, and you need to continue to be involved in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
This is
though.
all on the website. Will be on the website tomorrow. jtb.co.uk. And if you've got any other questions, you can email us or call us up.
Thank you.